Welcome, brave souls, to a journey through 5 of the most terrifying urban legends that haunt the darkest corners of our world. These tales are more than just bedtime stories. They're whispered warnings and eerie truths. From haunted highways to cursed artifacts, prepare yourself as we delve into stories that may just follow you home. If you think you're brave enough, listen closely. Let's begin.
It was a lonely night when Tom, a long-haul truck driver, found himself on the desolate stretch of Route 66. His company had dispatched him on a route he'd never traveled before, a part of the road known for being eerily quiet. The highway was lined with thick forests on both sides, making it feel like a tunnel into the unknown. Hours had passed, and he hadn't seen a single car. Just past midnight, he noticed a figure standing by the side of the road, their face obscured under the hood of an old coat. Against his better judgment, he slowed down, rolling to a stop beside the figure. He could make out just enough to see that it was a man, pale, with hollow eyes that seemed to look straight through him. Without a word, the figure climbed into the passenger seat. Tom's skin prickled as the cold air rushed into the cab. He tried to make conversation, asking the man where he was headed, but the hitchhiker remained silent, staring blankly forward. Tom continued driving, unnerved but determined to shake off the strange encounter. Suddenly, the temperature dropped even more, and Tom's breath started to mist. Glancing over, he realized the passenger seat was empty. Panicked, he checked his rearview mirror, and there was the man sitting in the back, staring at him with those empty eyes. Tom's hands shook as he gripped the steering wheel. No matter how fast he drove, the hitchhiker wouldn't leave. Some say Tom never made it to his destination, and on dark nights, you can still see his truck with its ghostly passenger traveling Route 66. In a small, forgotten town stood an old house, long abandoned and shrouded in rumors of dark magic. Sophie and her friends, fueled by teenage curiosity and a thirst for thrills, decided to explore the house one autumn evening. Armed with flashlights and a dusty lantern, they made their way through the creaking halls. In the attic, hidden under a dusty sheet, they found a large, cracked mirror. Sophie felt a strange pull to it. Her friends dared her to light a candle and speak to the mirror, claiming it was an ancient ritual. Sophie lit the candle and, as she gazed into the mirror, whispered, "Mirror witch, show me my future." At first, there was nothing but her reflection, distorted by the cracks in the glass. But soon, her face faded, and in its place appeared the faint image of a woman with hollow, dark eyes, her mouth twisted into a smile. The Midnight Clown first appeared in the town of Winslow years ago, a figure wrapped in mystery and horror. People would report sightings late at night, a figure with smeared clown makeup, a twisted smile, and a tattered costume standing motionless under the streetlights. He would vanish the moment anyone got close, but people said he was watching, waiting. Lena, a young woman new to town, heard about the Midnight Clown and dismissed it as small-town superstition, until one fateful night when she found herself walking home alone. It was past midnight, and the streets were deserted. As she turned a corner, she froze. Under the flickering light of a street lamp stood the clown, staring directly at her. Her heart raced as he began to sway side to side, like he was dancing to some silent tune. Lena's instincts told her to run, but she was paralyzed by fear. The clown took a step forward, then another, and she finally bolted, sprinting down the street. When she reached her door and glanced back, he was gone, but the nightmare was just beginning. Over the following nights, she would catch glimpses of him out her window, sometimes closer than others. Every night, he was there, swaying to the rhythm only he could hear. Lena's neighbors claimed to hear him whispering outside their windows too. It was said that once you saw the midnight clown, he would never leave you alone. Jake had heard the story about the Howling Bridge, a decaying structure on the outskirts of town. It was a place where, decades ago, a bus carrying school children crashed, killing everyone aboard. At midnight, the cries of the children could still be heard, or so they said. On a dare, Jake and his friend decided to visit the bridge, ignoring the warnings about venturing there at night. They arrived just as the clock struck midnight, the mist rolling and thick around them. The bridge creaked beneath their feet as they walked. Suddenly, the air was filled with faint, childlike cries, as if distant voices were echoing through time. Jake's friend turned to leave, but Jake was mesmerized, listening to the whispers. Then, out of nowhere, he felt small, cold hands tugging at his clothes, pulling him toward the edge of the bridge. He looked down and saw faint, ghostly faces in the mist, eyes filled with sorrow, reaching for him. His friend screamed, pulling him back just before he was dragged over the side. The two raced back to their car, but Jake was never the same. He claimed he could still hear the voices, the desperate cries of children who never found peace. In the heart of the town square stood an ancient statue, weathered by time, rumored to hold dark magic. Its expressionless face seemed to follow anyone who passed by, and the locals claimed that if you leaned in close, the statue would whisper your deepest secrets back to you. Most avoided it, but James, a skeptic, decided to see for himself. One evening, he visited the square alone, standing face to face with the stone figure. He leaned in, pressing his ear to the cold stone. To his shock, he heard a voice whispering his darkest, hidden fears. It spoke of things he'd never told a soul, things he'd even tried to forget. Mesmerized, he kept listening, unable to pull away, as the voice grew louder and more insistent. In the days that followed, James was haunted by visions, hearing the statue's whispers even in his sleep. It revealed more secrets, things he didn't even know about himself. The voice grew demanding, driving him mad, and he became consumed by paranoia. In time, he became a shadow of himself, a warning to others who dared listen to the statue's cursed whispers. Thank you for joining me in exploring these haunting urban legends. Remember, these stories are not just tales of the unknown. They're reminders of the shadows that lurk in the world around us. And the next time you're out late, or you find yourself alone in the dark, maybe you'll think twice. Until next time, sleep well. If you can,